Hello and welcome to the Room of Truth. I am Queen Doro, and today I'm going to tell you about what happens when a spirit passes over. I have this on very good authority. I've been told this firsthand by spirits themselves. And normally what happens is whatever circumstance they're in, they will leave their body. Sometimes they say that they see the light and they go to the light and they leave their body, but normally what happens is they will literally just step out of the body that they're in, whether they're on an operating table, whether they're in an accident, whether they are in a sick bed, they're in a hospital in a sick bed, or they're in a hospice, or they're lying in a bed. Well, whatever circumstances they're in, they will literally just step out of their body and they will be stood by the side of it. It is a very quick process. It literally is a nanosecond from being alive to being dead. There's no long drawn out of trying to get out of the body, stuff like that. It's literally instant. Now, with the ones that are on the deathbed, say for example, I'm going to give you an example of one person that came through to me, and she said that she was in hospital, in the hospital bed, and she literally blinked, and when she was alive she had her family around the bed and they were all talking to her, telling her she could let go, and not to worry, that sort of thing, we love you, whatever the messages were that those people said to her. And she said she literally blinked her eyes very slowly, and when she opened them there was a new group of people she hadn't seen for years, people that she loved, people that were her family, friends, people that she was like, wow, what are you doing? And she said what the difference was when she was alive, her body was racked with pain, she was tired, she found it difficult to breathe, she was struggling, it was an effort. And yet when she blinked and these other relatives were around her, she felt alive. She said, I felt no pain. I suddenly felt vibrant, loved, happy. She said, I jumped out of bed. I hugged them all. She said, and then I was like, oh, I don't know what you're doing here. I don't understand what's happening, but I want to change. I want to put a nice dress on. And she did. As far as she was concerned, she was still in the hospital room. There was still the same ensuite bathroom. But she went in there, she got washed and dressed, they gave her a dress which turned out to be her favourite dress that she always loved. She put that on, she came out, she said, and then she went off, and she went out of the room where she was in hospital, and she knew the location of the hospital. She said, but when she went out of the hospital room, she went into a completely different place. It was a beautiful place, bright colours, vibrant colours, flowers, trees, such vivid colours, and she felt so much love. And the people that had greeted her from the hospital bed actually moved forward with her, and then they said that they would be going to do certain things, but they introduced her to someone who was going to be going through her life with her. And basically she said what happened then was she went into another place where she was able to see her whole life from birth right the way through to death. She was able to see all the happy things that had happened, the sad things. She was able to understand her reactions to them, the reactions of the people that were in that scenario as well. And she was able to take a good look at her life, and she was full of joy and love. And she told me that when she wanted to come and see people, she was not able to. They completely blocked off the sound for her. She was unable to think about her daughters. She was unable to think about what was happening in other members of the family. She said, but for the equivalent of 3 Earth days, she said time is very different there. They don't have time and it passes very quickly. She said, but for the equivalent of 3 Earth days, which was a matter of seconds for her. She was able to experience her whole entire life. She said, but it's to allow them to get used to the fact that they've crossed over, passed over. But back to the 3 Earth days, and I keep trying to finish the sentence. Those 3 Earth days, if you want to help someone that has passed over, if you have a photo of them, or if you have a candle and you want to send prayers and thoughts and wishes and positive vibes to help them cross over, you can do. But you cannot reach them for the first 3 days, which is what I had been told many, many, many times by different people who I asked what the passing over experience was like for them. But she is the first person who came through the moment she passed. She came through to tell me. As soon as she got her best dress on, and her makeup and her hair done, she came straight to me to tell me what a wonderful experience it was. And she wanted me to pass that message on to her daughter, that she'd passed over fine. She was going to be able to come back in a couple of days, and she would come back and let her know that everything was all right and she was happy. She is the happiest spirit of someone, and the only spirit of someone who has come through immediately on passing. And lovely, lovely, lovely lady. Knew her well in life, and I knew her better once she passed over. Lovely lady. Yes. So that's what she told me happens when somebody passes over. Later on, when it came for her daughter to pass, there was a little bit of confusion for her because she was on morphine. She passed with cancer. She was on morphine, and so the morphine caused her to be very groggy, and she didn't quite understand that she had actually passed over until I was able to connect with her. And she was like, oh, thank you so much for coming to visit me in hospital. And I'm like, no, actually, you're not in hospital. You passed about 3 months ago now. And I'm here to help you transition. And the most wonderful thing happened there. I was able to, she in her mind was still on the hospital bed, not in pain, but she was still groggy. She refused to let go of the interim period. She hadn't gone towards the light that presents itself. And whilst I was there with her, I didn't die, obviously. I saw her in my mind's eye and connected to her that way. I was able to get her to understand that she had passed over. And as I was doing so, I could see people coming in the background, and they surrounded her. I couldn't see who they were, but I could see a whole group of silhouettes of people. I could just see like this group of faceless people. And she got off the gurney as she was being transferred from the hospital bed to somewhere else, and she passed on the gurney. She went up to them, and I said, look, go with them. You see that light over there? I need you to go towards it. You know, it will be wonderful. Don't worry about it. You need to go. And she got up, and they closed in around her. So I could see this silhouette of many people ushering her towards the light, more or less like, this is the way, this is the way. And when she went there, she was jumping up and down going, it's wonderful, it's wonderful, it's just as you told me it would be. It's wonderful, the colours, it's so, bye. And she waved, and I waved, and she went through into the light, and then the people were closing behind her, taking her through. But just before she went, this one silhouetted spirit of a person said to me, I mean, I was crying my eyes out, I didn't want her to go, said to me, you've done a good thing today. That was wonderful. And that meant such a lot to me, because this person then turned around and went into the light, and then the light just went gone. And what was wonderful about this experience, apart from the fact that I didn't want to let her go, because you know, you love people that are close to you, was I have held on to her words. It is beautiful. It is exactly as so many people have told me. And the reason her words meant so much more to me was because she was a non-believer. She was completely skeptical. She didn't believe in spirits. She didn't believe in the other side. She said, when I die, that's it. I'm just going to die. I'm going to be dead. It's going to be dark. You can do whatever you like with my body. It's not going to matter. I don't believe in any of all of that. Don't know. It's absolute rubbish and twaddle. And I respected that. You know, you can't make someone believe something that they don't want to believe. And everybody's entitled to their belief systems. And for me, my belief is in spirits and speaking to spirits and seeing spirits. And I've had so many things happen that I cannot explain scientifically, logically. And so the way that I look at it was, of all the people that could validate passing and that there is something else beyond this, she was the best person to do it, because I just know in her entire life, in the time that I knew her, she was constantly accepting me as I am, but constantly saying, no, don't believe in any of that. And I'm like, well, you know, when it comes, I was trying to prepare her for the passing, you know, well, when it happens, this is what's going to happen, this is how it'll be, and you won't feel anything, and it'll be quick. And she's like, don't want to know, don't believe in that. When I die, I'm just going to die. That's it. So for her to say to me, it was the most wonderful experience for her. And it was as beautiful as I had told her it would be, was wonderful verification for me and validation for me that my beliefs, although they're my beliefs, my personal opinions, my own coping mechanism to believe that there's something bigger than us, something out there that, you know, there is something of us that goes on, that we are immortal, that our souls are immortal, they are eternal, was wonderful. It was a lovely experience. So that's what happens when you pass over. You literally just step out of your body. This is like a suit. It's just a meat suit. It's a flesh suit. It's a coat. And we put on this coat to have these experiences in this life. And then when we pass over, we normally revert to a younger, the best stage that we feel of in this life. We go back to our healthiest, our happiest, whatever stage that is of your life, and that is how we then go through, process it, and we can, at some stage, if we wish, come back and reincarnate, and that's a whole new subject. If you've liked this video, if you've learned anything, please like, subscribe, put the notification bell on, put comments in below, join me on Facebook, and for now, I keep saying for now, it's bye for now.